The Millionaire's Tears, a long-lost daughter reunited. A lonely winter night. On a cold winter evening, Evelyn Carter stood inside her lavish mansion in the heart of Manhattan, gazing out at the silent snowfall. The grand estate, admired by many for its opulence, felt nothing but empty to her. To the world, she was a successful real estate mogul, a symbol of power and wealth. But deep inside, she was consumed by loneliness. The vast halls of her mansion, adorned with priceless artwork and intricate chandeliers, only served as a reminder of what she had lost. The rooms were filled with expensive furniture, yet they felt hollow, void of the warmth that only family could provide. Servants came and went, taking care of the place, but they could never replace the love and laughter that once echoed within these walls. The source of her sorrow was her daughter, Lily, who had gone missing 3 decades ago at an amusement park. The memory of that fateful day haunted Evelyn, replaying over and over in her mind like a cruel nightmare. What was supposed to be a joyful escape from her busy schedule had turned into her worst nightmare. One moment, Lily was laughing and enjoying herself, her small hands gripping a cotton candy stick, her face bright with excitement. The next moment, she was gone, vanished without a trace. Evelyn had searched tirelessly, her world shattering with each passing day. She had hired the best private investigators, combed through every possible lead, and pleaded with the police to keep looking. Newspapers published articles, television networks broadcast her tearful pleas, but nothing brought her daughter back. The authorities eventually stopped searching, the media lost interest, and friends hesitantly suggested she move on. But how could she? How could a mother ever stop searching for a child? The years passed, but the pain remained, manifesting in sleepless nights and a quiet sorrow that never left her side. She had poured herself into her work, building an empire that brought her fortune and status, but never peace. Money had given her everything except the one thing she longed for most, her daughter's embrace. Now, decades later, as she stood by the grand window of her mansion, watching the snow settle over the city, she felt more alone than ever. The world saw her as powerful, yet she felt powerless against the weight of her past. Would she ever find closure, or was she destined to live with this aching emptiness forever? A chance encounter. One evening, Evelyn's close friend, Margaret, insisted she leave her mansion for a change of scenery. Reluctantly, she agreed. They arrived at a cozy, hidden restaurant tucked away in a quiet alley, far from the glamour of high-end dining. The warm glow of the restaurant and the smell of homemade meals welcomed them, wrapping them in an ambience that was both unfamiliar and comforting. As they settled in, Evelyn took a moment to truly absorb her surroundings. Unlike the cold, lifeless luxury she was used to, this place pulsed with genuine warmth. The walls were adorned with handwritten messages from customers, small potted plants lined the windowsills, and the soft hum of conversation filled the air. There was a sense of togetherness here that she had not felt in decades. Her gaze wandered across the room until it landed on a young waitress. She moved effortlessly between tables, greeting customers with a bright and sincere smile, her presence exuding an almost magnetic charm. Her name tag read Emma. Evelyn watched closely, her curiosity deepening with each passing moment. There was something about Emma, something strangely familiar. It wasn't just the way she carried herself. It was something in her eyes, the way she interacted with people, the warmth she exuded. Just as Evelyn was about to look away, her breath caught in her throat. Hanging around Emma's neck was a delicate silver pendant, a pendant Evelyn knew all too well. Her heart pounded as her eyes locked onto it, scanning every intricate detail. Engraved on the back was a name, Lily. Her hands trembled as she reached for her glass, struggling to steady herself. It was impossible. She had that necklace custom-made for her daughter 30 years ago, a one-of-a-kind design, something only meant for her precious Lily. How could it be here? How could it be on the neck of this young woman she had never met? A rush of emotions flooded her. Hope, disbelief, fear. She squeezed her eyes shut for a moment, trying to steady her thoughts. Was she imagining things? Was this some cruel trick of fate? Her heart raced with uncertainty, but deep down, something told her that this was no coincidence. The room seemed to shrink around her as her pulse quickened. Margaret, oblivious to Evelyn's turmoil, continued chatting about the restaurant, the food, the atmosphere. But Evelyn barely heard a word. Her world had suddenly shifted, and nothing else mattered. She needed to know the truth. But could she handle it? A mother's instinct. Struggling to remain composed, Evelyn turned to Margaret. That waitress, Emma, do you know anything about her? Margaret smiled warmly. Emma? She's wonderful. The restaurant owner recommended her. She's hardworking, kind, and everyone here adores her. She's got this warmth about her that makes customers feel at home. Evelyn's thoughts raced. Could it be possible? Could Lily be standing right in front of her? She had to know. The idea seemed impossible. Yet the resemblance, the familiarity, it was undeniable. Her heart pounded as she took a deep breath, steadying herself before approaching the young woman. Every step toward Emma felt heavier, as if she were approaching the precipice of a life-altering revelation. Excuse me, Evelyn said cautiously, her voice unsteady. Your necklace, where did you get it? Emma looked surprised, instinctively touching the pendant, her fingers brushing over its delicate surface as if it held a lifetime of meaning. Oh, this? She replied with a soft smile. It's very special to me. I've had it for as long as I can remember. My mother gave it to me before I was left at an orphanage. Evelyn's world spun. An orphanage? Her breath hitched, her throat tightening as she fought back tears. This wasn't just a coincidence. The necklace, the story, it was all too much to dismiss. She clenched her hands to steady them, struggling to form the words stuck in her throat. If this was the truth, if Emma was truly Lily, then she had finally found the one thing she had been searching for all these years. But what if she was wrong? What if this fragile hope shattered in an instant? Her mind swirled with emotions, fear, longing, hesitation. Yet, amidst it all, a single thought remained unwavering. She had to know. Unraveling the truth. Desperate for answers, Evelyn hesitated before asking, Do you know how old you were when you arrived at the orphanage? Emma thought for a moment, her brow furrowing slightly as she tried to recall the details. They told me I was around 5. She finally responded, her voice soft but certain. Evelyn's breath hitched. That was the same age Lily had disappeared. Her pulse quickened as she carefully crafted her next question, afraid of what the answer might be, but desperate to know the truth. And your birthday? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Emma paused, tilting her head slightly before answering. April 15th, 1989. Evelyn's hands trembled as she clasped them together. That was Lily's birthday. The room seemed to fade away, her surroundings becoming a blur as the weight of the moment pressed down on her chest. Tears welled in her eyes, but she fought to stay composed. She had spent decades yearning for this moment, yet now that it was here, fear gripped her heart. Could it really be true? Could the little girl she had lost so long ago be standing right in front of her? Swallowing hard, she forced herself to take a deep breath. There was only one way to be certain. Emma, she said carefully, each word laced with emotion, would you be willing to take a DNA test with me? Emma hesitated, sensing the urgency in Evelyn's voice. Her hands instinctively reached for the necklace around her neck, fingers grazing the delicate pendant that had been her only connection to a past she barely remembered. A part of her was confused, uncertain why the stranger was asking such deeply personal questions. But another part of her, the part that had always felt like something was missing, was undeniably curious. After a pause, she nodded. I've always wondered about my past, she admitted, her voice carrying a mixture of apprehension and hope. A heart-wrenching reunion. Days later, they sat in a clinic, waiting anxiously for the DNA results. The stark white walls seemed to close in on them, the air thick with anticipation. Evelyn's hands trembled as she clutched a tissue, twisting it nervously between her fingers. If the results were negative, she wasn't sure she could bear the heartbreak. But if they were positive, the minutes stretched endlessly, each second dragging on as if time itself had slowed. Emma, usually composed, sat with her hands folded tightly in her lap, biting the inside of her cheek. She had spent her entire life wondering about her origins, about the mother she never knew. And now, she was on the verge of learning the truth. Finally, the door creaked open. The doctor entered, holding a sealed envelope, his expression unreadable. The silence in the room was deafening as he carefully tore it open and scanned the contents. Evelyn's heart pounded so hard she could hear it in her ears. With 99.99% certainty, the doctor announced, "You are mother and daughter." Evelyn gasped, covering her mouth with her hands as a flood of emotions overwhelmed her. 30 years of grief, longing, and guilt came crashing down all at once. Her shoulders shook as uncontrollable sobs tore through her, each tear carrying the weight of 3 decades of unanswered prayers. "I never stopped looking for you," she choked through her tears. "I never gave up. I'm so sorry for all the years we lost." Emma sat frozen, her body stiff as her mind struggled to process the revelation. Tears welled in her eyes before spilling down her cheeks. Slowly, hesitantly, she reached for Evelyn. Her fingers trembled as they brushed against her mother's hand, then grasped it tightly. "I don't remember much, but I've always felt like something was missing," she whispered, her voice raw with emotion. "I think that missing piece was you." Evelyn let out a broken laugh through her sobs, pulling Emma into her arms, holding her as if she would never let go. The dam that had held back their pain for years finally burst, and in its place, a bond long lost but never truly broken was restored. They clung to each other, mother and daughter finally reunited after 3 decades apart, their hearts beating in sync for the first time in 30 years. Building a future together. Emma needed time to process the revelation. Going from an orphan to the daughter of a billionaire was overwhelming. The transition was surreal. One moment, she was a waitress barely making ends meet, and the next, she was reconnecting with a mother she had never known. But Evelyn gave her space, making sure she never felt pressured, ensuring she understood that she was loved unconditionally. As days turned into weeks, Emma spent time getting to know Evelyn. They shared quiet dinners, long conversations, and laughter that felt like it had been missing from both their lives for far too long. The bond between them grew stronger each day, and Evelyn cherished every moment. One evening, they sat together in Evelyn's elegant home, sipping tea. The warmth of the fireplace flickered against the walls, adding a soft glow to the room. "Emma," Evelyn asked gently, "is there anything you've always wanted to do?" Emma hesitated, glancing down at her cup before looking up with a hopeful gleam in her eyes. "I've always dreamed of opening a little cafe, a place where people feel at home. A warm, welcoming space filled with laughter, good food, and stories shared over cups of coffee." Evelyn's heart swelled with pride. She reached across the table and took her daughter's hands. "Then let's make it happen," she said with certainty. "We'll do it together." The next few months were filled with excitement and hard work. Evelyn provided the financial resources, but it was Emma's passion and vision that brought the cafe to life. She spent hours planning the decor, carefully curating a menu, and ensuring that the atmosphere felt like home to everyone who walked through the doors. When the cafe finally opened, Emma named it Lily's Place, a tribute to the little girl she once was and the love she had finally found. The sign above the entrance gleamed under the city lights, a beacon of warmth in a bustling world. The cafe quickly became more than just a place to eat. It became a home for those seeking comfort. Customers adored not only the delicious pastries and rich coffee, but also the touching story behind it. They admired Emma's journey and Evelyn's unwavering devotion. People from all walks of life visited, drawn in by the mother and daughter's inspiring tale. One evening, as they stood outside the cafe, the stars twinkling above them, Emma turned to her mother with a soft smile. "Do you think we'll truly be happy now?" Evelyn wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close. "Happiness isn't about what we lost, sweetheart. It's about what we build from here." Emma exhaled, feeling the weight of the past lift from her shoulders. At that moment, they knew Their journey wasn't about dwelling on what had been taken from them, but rather about embracing the love they had now. The past no longer defined them. Their future was theirs to create together, with every shared moment and every cup of coffee poured with love. Underscore, 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 underscore. The story of Evelyn and Emma is more than just a miraculous reunion between a mother and daughter. It is a powerful reminder of the importance of love, perseverance, and the bonds that connect us. Here are the key lessons we can take away from this story. 1. A mother's love never fades. No amount of time, distance, or circumstance can break the love a mother has for her child. Evelyn never stopped searching for her daughter, proving that a mother's love is unconditional and eternal. Life lesson. Love is not measured by proximity, but by the depth of connection we share with those who matter most. No matter how much time has passed, it's never too late to rebuild relationships and make up for lost time. 2. Wealth and success can't replace family. Evelyn had everything: money, power, and status, but none of it filled the void in her heart. True happiness doesn't come from material wealth, but from meaningful connections with loved ones. Life lesson. Don't let the pursuit of success cause you to lose sight of the relationships that truly matter. Cherish every moment with family and friends, because love and togetherness bring far more joy than riches ever could. 3. Fate works in mysterious ways. Sometimes the answers we seek come when we least expect them. Evelyn and Emma's reunion was pure fate, an unexpected twist in their lives that brought them back together when the time was right. Life lesson. Trust in life's journey. Even if things don't go as planned, there may be a reason why. Miracles do happen, and sometimes what we're looking for has been closer than we ever realized. 4. The importance of holding on to hope. Despite years of heartbreak, Evelyn never truly gave up hope. That hope is what led her to Emma, proving that even in our darkest moments, holding on to faith can lead us to the light. Life lesson. Even in the face of loss and despair, never stop believing in the possibility of a better future. Life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. Never lose hope. This story is a beautiful example of how life is full of unexpected twists and how love has the power to bridge even the longest separations. It teaches us that time lost can never be regained, but new memories can always be created. We all face moments of loneliness, regret, or longing for something missing in our lives. This story reminds us to appreciate the relationships we have, to reconnect with those we've lost, and to never take love for granted. For anyone watching, this is your sign to reach out to someone you've lost touch with. Don't wait until it's too late. This story teaches us that love transcends time, wealth cannot replace family, and fate has a way of bringing people together when they least expect it. Sometimes, what we seek is closer than we think. We just need to take that first step toward it. If this story touched your heart, share it with others to spread hope and love. Subscribe to Toch Story for more heartwarming stories that inspire and uplift.